as, again, per the normal, we just like to remind everybody, and you guys all probably know, we won the Benzinga Award for idea generation. We just like to keep this information for people who are new to trade ideas. We've been in the game for over 13 years, and we are the best at it. We have no doubt about that. We're going to be showing you some of that in the presentation. A lot of exciting stuff is going on. So first of all, the big thing that we did just recently is we added charts, and I think we're already on version 4.014 now. I think I just had to upgrade that, the alpha or beta, whatever we call it. I mean, people that work with trade ideas, you guys know that you're kind of part of the development cycle. You're a part of this technology. We interact with people. We're open to communicating with everybody, and this is one of the things that I think makes us completely special. You know, it's not just about hotel shows and sales orientations. It's really about getting you guys the best edge. I mean, that's kind of what we're obsessed about. So one of the ways that we went about doing that is adding charts so that you can have visual confirmation. So you can kind of think about it. Now Trade Ideas really lets you consolidate possibly a lot of your technology things. Like you may not have to have a whole separate charting package or a separate news package. I mean, we're doing a lot of this stuff where we're taking this data and we're giving you the most actionable information faster than anyone else can do it. Again, all will be demonstrated. But 4.0 is the big thing that we released, and we're already on the heels of the next big release. And as Scott said, that next big release is a channel that's fully powered by our AI engine that we call Holly. And for everybody here at the webinar, we also have a strategy that Holly has made for you. And of course, we're going to talk about you need the odds maker for. We're going to discuss this strategy, and Brad's actually going to be contributing quite a bit, because we're really going to be talking today. Let me minimize the presentation. We're going to be talking about an edge and specifically how our top lists are so powerful. And again, one of the things that Brad and I feel are just really underutilized pieces of technology. Let's see. For the quick, let me make sure these windows are pinned. For the quick overview, obviously you guys all know that Trade Ideas lets you see very specific and important actionable information we feel better than anyone else. And the way that we really do it differently now than before is by creating channels that allow you to quickly peruse the market to find something that's interesting for you. I mean, this part of the presentation, even on the Q&A, is aimed at people who are new, just so that they know it's not just about, you know, getting into the motor and the nitty and the gritty. You don't have to be at all any kind of programmer. You can instantly get value from Trade Ideas because everything is titled and you've got channels. So for example,
we're always adding channels to this lineup as well, and they dynamically add to your channel bar. So just as Dan goes up and down, there are a couple new ones that we just put on there yesterday.
Yep. Well, we've been going back and forth, and we do this again, kind of like your cable providers. You know, they put new shows on. We modify channels. Like we look at new information, we add to channels. One of the things that you will see with Trade Ideas is we have the shortest development cycle on the planet in financial technology. I mean, Barry, who's our trading room moderator, who's assisting us in the question and answer forum, he will also tell you, and he is always getting new versions all the time as we are constantly pushing the envelope of what you can do technologically. So, very high level, channel surfing. Instantly see what is available. Social media. We don't just take in market data, we take in social data. So we let you see what are the things that people are talking about a lot. Okay? And this is just a great place to quickly zone in on things that, like, look at this, ASTI, right? This is a perfect example, and Brad and I have mentioned this on several presentations before. Just be aware, look at what's happening here, and notice how there's a possibility of a trend change. So this is what Trade Ideas is good at doing. It's good at identifying these things And so for all this time that we've been around, our obsessive compulsive thing has been about giving our customers an edge. So the question though is, an edge is a tricky thing to give you because, you know, every one of us as humans, we have completely different trading experiences. Yours is going to be different than mine. So, like, for example, if I'm teaching you a chart pattern, I say, okay, hey, look at this ASTI. So what you want to look for is something that goes down like this, kind of stalls, and then has a big upward volume swing with a huge amount of volume. This could be the washout. And that's one example of what a washout might look like. But again, as I say this, you know, the way I see it is slightly my way, the way you see it is slightly your way, and it's all a little bit different, which is why trading is so subjective. So we said our edge has to be quantifiable and verifiable, well, quantifiable scientifically and verifiable. So what we really talk about is edge and data. Everything has a data point. Each one of these candles, there's a huge amount of data inside. And we allow ourselves to mine that data to be able to get a more interesting and different view of the market that more quickly highlights things like ASTI and KBIO, so that again, alpha can be captured. Let's talk about alpha just real quick. And again, Brad and I, we sort of keep a similar path to these presentations. The first half, we're going to be talking about something in trade ideas, and the second half is more question and answer. So, and Brad, by the way, if I'm, you know, babbling or something, make sure you cut me off and let me know.
You never babble, Dan. But while you're on this page and this screen right here, I think I want to point out to everybody some of the special data points that we do have. And we were talking about everything on the screen here, the social media screen. These are stocks that are talked about a lot or being talked about more than normal. But on that symbol ASTI, notice the StockTwits relative activity percentage column. That's the second one from the right. And that's what's taking a look at the social activity and comparing it to normal. So this one's trading or being spoken about 1,200% more than normal, and that's significant. And you couple that with the price action that it has and the volume action that it has, and you've got something that's in play.
Yeah, and that is really almost 90% of the game, right? I mean, you've got to find the things that are in play, and hopefully, and by the way, I mean, this is, Brad, going to be a fantastic transition into what we're really kind of talking today, which is that extra power, the edge. Well, how do you make sure you have the most odds for that play to continue? So a lot of you are familiar with warrior trading, probably. Ross Cameron has come in and done webinars for you guys, and we've done the same with his group. And to the tune of his methodology, that's something that Ross uses that's very smart, which is always being aware of the float for stocks. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a window that I've created. Okay, and this is, again, the presentation today is really kind of like a really research-based presentation. So first of all, this is a top list window, again, for people that are new. And a top list is a way you can visualize market data. You can see the symbols, prices, and they're sorted in a particular way. So every one of these columns, everything is sortable. You can sort it by price. You can alphabetically sort by symbol if you so choose. You can sort by dollar or percentage change. Okay, so here you can quickly see all the things that are going up, and in the same list you can scroll right down to the things that are going down. This is called bookending. I also think we're one of the few people out there that actually do this. So it allows you to have just more breadth of what's going on. So another thing, I mean, a lot of you guys are going to be looking at these windows and you're going to be like, oh my God, I need this window. This window will be available to everybody who's a Trade Ideas customer. And if you're not a Trade Ideas customer, you should want this window also. So let's talk about, again, how do you get yourself in a position to have a trend actually continue? And remember, as investors, we really don't care about which way it goes per se, but we do care that it goes. And for that, what I want to do is I want to quickly go back to I think, was it KBIO? Yes. Okay, so let's look at this. I'm going to expand this real quick. It's just perspective here. I'm going to zoom in so that you guys, so that we are all on the same page of what is alpha. Okay, and specifically why this is so interesting to individual investors. So here, stock is behaving the way it has been behaving for a long time, normally, in other words. Ploppity, 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 plop. It's what's called plodding along. There's really nothing going on that would ever give you any notion that KBIO, anything interesting is happening. Plodding, 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 and then we have the third, okay, which was 4 days ago, okay. Obviously, news broke, and we can actually switch this to, let's say, a 30-minute graph. I'm going to zoom back out. Let me get in here. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this is, again, I'm giving you perspective in terms of alpha. Alpha is how you can do better than the market. You know, a lot of you guys are, if you watch CNBC and you hear numbers like 10% and 11% and 8% is good, I mean, that's what people are taught. I mean, you're taught to have very low expectations. But, you know, venture capitalists and people with a lot of money, they don't think like that at all. They're looking for serious alpha. Alpha is return on your investment. How can you do better, more efficient? You know, turn your money more efficiently. This is what we were all about. And this part of KBIO on a 30-minute time frame, again, notice there was never a time on the third that something happened and it was halted and you couldn't be in it. All you needed to know was, okay, here it starts to break out, continues to break out, and this is a pretty big move on not that much volume, but then it really starts to go. But what I'm saying is here you have 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. You have 2 hours to contemplate what to do here. You had to have just been aware of it. Okay? And Trade Ideas is there. And here you're going from $2 to basically $5 in, you know, a matter of 2 days. That's the real ticket. That's the real alpha. That's 100%. You know, even if you put $500 into this, that's a fantastic investment. So we're focused, again, obsessed about getting you guys the ability to see these kind of things better. And now that I shrink this back up to here, you know, we're going to go and, whoops, excuse me. Let me go back to the daily. So notice, again, on every chart, there's a daily screen and an intraday screen, you know, together, so you can quickly see it. So these channels are already pre-designed to get you into that mindset. You should expect, if you're going on the social media channel, you're going to see something where something's going to be up a lot and also being talked about a lot. All those things come together to possibly create more momentum. Okay? So back to strategy and making money. So Ross, you know, and ourselves, we've just discussed this strategy of, well, how do you get momentum behind you? And we noticed how I picked up KBIO on this one. Let me see where it is here. I know it was somewhere here. Okay, I'll come back to it. But what I was trying to say is that the float is how many shares, let's see, where do we have that? Float. How many shares are available to the public for trading? Okay, so here you have VTAE that has 10 million shares that are available. Okay, but it had volume today of 8 million shares. That means 86% of the whole float that's available to the public to trade turned over. And of course, it's a pharmaceutical. Sorry, forgive me for constantly doing that. I'll resort and make sure it works. Okay, there we go. So the float and being able to see how the volume is in relationship to the float is a very, very critical path to be able to to ascertain value of a momentum move. So here we have this new column. So Brad, do you want to talk about how we came up with this column and a little bit of that process? Because again, I think its importance is, incredibly understated.
You bet. It's actually a rather simple custom filter, but before I talk about the specificity of how we make it, you should know that you have the ability to create custom filters inside of Trade Ideas based on the data that's available. And this is really just taking the total volume and dividing it by the float. We have the float as a variable and we have the total volume. So creating a nice custom filter here, which is a total volume divided by float times 100 to make it the percentage.
I'm going to our website right now, and it's under account management, right?
No, go to the support tab. It's probably the easiest if you just go all the way at the top under support.
See, Brad's my support.
Yeah,
okay.
And so right here, it's actually in the very first section because it's become so popular. And everybody has their own unique set of custom filters.
Yeah. So I'm not logged into the website because I don't want to log myself out, but you can kind of get an idea that if you log in, you would see new formula, Brad? Is that what that would do?
Yeah, you would have the ability to input your own. And the real key here is that help icon, right next to the PDF. It's that page right there is really going to give you all the data that you need to be able to create and manipulate the data points and trade ideas. It's really simple. Don't let it overwhelm you. It's really, really easy to do. But if you need any help, that's what we're here for. So just shoot us an email to info@trade-ideas.com, and we can walk you through the process of getting this custom filter or any other ones added to your account. We're going to share a cloud link that has a strategy in it, and you need to have this filter in your account for it to work properly.
Yeah. Brad, I was going to say one of the really good things is since we've touched upon this screen at another Q&A session, but we really didn't. We were talking about it more, or maybe I think we just glanced at it. The bottom line is now we're really going to be showing you how to make sense out of the momentum, and also we're going to be giving you a strategy that's based on it. But this is just, again, so that you can take the steps to see what's going on, and if you have any kind of interest in kind of exploring what you can do, this is a resource to really take Trade Ideas to the next level, which is why you're hopefully here in the webinar. So this column, percentage of float today, I have another very important thing, and again, Ross and I had discussed this, which is dollar volume. Okay, this is another very, very critical thing, and we were just having a strategy discussion about how this is one of these things that you hardly ever hear about. And let's talk about why, and talk about why you actually need to. So let's consider for a minute dollar volume. If you imagine, you're going to buy a house in New York City, in Manhattan, you're going to need, well, in a house, like in an apartment building, you're going to probably need like $3 million just to even like have a chance to have one. Okay, so that number, $3 million, like you can associate it with something. Okay, you have like an association, but the problem is that when you look at here I'm doing it again. The problem is when you look at shares traded, okay, and you're not considering the dollar volume, you're not really comparing apples to apples. You're comparing apples to pretzels, okay? Because there's a lot of things. Like there's a big difference between something that has a $230 million dollar volume today versus a $6 million. And the other interesting thing is that as we resort, okay, and we look at some of these lower cap names, okay, you get a really interesting picture of like what's the dollar, like again, how much dollar value is really being invested in these smaller players, and you're going to learn that if you're going to be getting into something, it's going to be very helpful to see something like a situation where you have, let's see, look at this, 200% of the float traded today on an 11-cent stock. I mean, crazy stuff going on, and $1 million volume on something that's 11 cents. That means just whatever it is, something completely crazy is going on at GBSN, and this craziness looks terrible for the stock. But you never know. Again, with that kind of volume, that's just something to, make a mental note about. We're not saying that this is yet to be used by itself completely in just a strategy. We'll show you how to get a strategy out of it. But if you look at the names here, let's look at some of these names. Okay? Look at the action that they have seen. I mean, from $3 to $50, that's like insane. And and look at the volatility. Again, this is where you hunt for the kind of plays that really give you the potential to do what we were talking about in KBOI, okay, where you have this kind of volatility. So the lesson that we want to teach you today at Trade Ideas, if you want to go away with anything, is that you need to start seriously considering the percentage of flow traded as a percentage and dollar volume together. Notice again, when you resort this information, so what are the highest ranking stocks in terms of both percentage of flow traded and dollar volume? You get an interesting picture here. Things that you are very familiar with. Netflix, had a big, nice turnaround day. Yahoo had a big bottom formation, and GoPro is just like, getting obliterated. But the interesting thing is, this is one of these things where, how do you find bottoms? Well, sometimes you find bottoms by knowing how often does a stock like GoPro get this close to being able to, turn its float. And that's statistics that Trade Ideas has inside as we're watching this stuff. So this is what we are doing. We want you to be looking at better and different sets of data points so that you are constantly in the know where the stocks that have just the most potential for momentum. I mean, these are these. So, Brad, before we take a pause for Scott and come back and talk a little bit more about the strategy, anything you want to add? Again, I just want to make sure I'm not missing something.
No, I think you did a great explanation of how we've taken that custom filter and applied it to a strategy. But what's coming next is really taking what we've done here, which is presenting a lot of different symbols and presenting them in a way that has some odds and statistics behind it. So this is really just kind of a stepping stone to get really to the next window that we're about to show you.
Right, but before we do that, Scott's going to come in. I'm going to give Scott a moment to just give you a little bit of information. And Brad, if you can do me a favor and
Did you close
that layout again? Remember when I went channel surfing? I think I forgot the strategy.
You got it.
Hey, thanks, guys. Can you park it on slide 7 from the slide stack?
Sure.
Yeah, good presentation. Lots of good information today. It's a good thing we're recording it. So I just want to mention about how we have our prices structured now at Trade Ideas. The subscription to Trade Ideas is a recurring subscription, and it includes all of your real-time data, the charting. There's a free hour of training called the Hour of Power. That's a one-on-one training session. Every subscription comes with that. So our monthly subscription is $99 per month, and our annual is $888 per year. The annual is a great way to save money over the monthly. Both subscriptions come with a free trial to the odds maker. You get to try that out 10 times. So the odds maker is our back testing tool, and that is the tool that's going to be necessary for you to use the AI channel if you wish to use the AI channel when that comes out. And that channel should be coming out during this month. So the way the odds maker works is it's a one-time license fee. So once you purchase the odds maker for $1,100, you always have the odds maker. So what that lets you do is backtest the entire market. It comes with a free optimized strategy. You can use the odds maker to drill down into your strategies and determine what's working for you, what isn't. What time of day in the market is your best time of day to trade? What types of stocks are your best stocks? You can determine all of that through the strategy optimization tools within the odds maker. So we're going to turn you back over to Brad and Dan, but I do want to mention that at the end of the webinar, I will be coming back on to thank everyone for joining us with a way for new members to save and also for existing members to upgrade their accounts and save money in doing so as well. Dan, Brad?
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
I'm going to go ahead and post the link in chat, Dan. I'm going to go ahead and post the cloud link of the percent of float runners, just so people can pull that up. And again, I just want to stress that it's important that for that window to work properly, you'll need to add a custom filter to your account. So just go to our webpage, sign in, go to support, and select the custom filters option. And then again, if you don't know what to do, I put it in chat. But if you haven't been watching that, you can just shoot us an email, and we'll get you set up personally. Were you able to get that strategy, Dan?
Well, look, I actually used our own technology, and I must have saved it into the cloud ahead of time.
Go figure.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
So there was a question on cloud use. You may want to give the 5-minute or the 5-second high level on what you can do with the cloud.
Well, okay. Let me talk about the cloud real quick, everyone. So one of the ways that Brad, you can unmute yourself so that there's no background, I think. Okay, so one of the ways that we try to distinguish ourselves is by making it very easy for you to always have access to all of your information. So I'm going to talk about just a couple of quick usability things, and we're going to give you a chance to ask us questions and talk about really turning the float into a completely viable strategy. So first of all, recently we've been changing all the layouts so you can have the toolbar. You can have an option under, let's see, Tools and Options, okay? There's a lot of things you can do. You can put grid lines on, and it'll put grids on all the windows. You can, in terms of the whole layout, you can say loading layouts open relative to main window. So let me explain what that means, and I'm going to hit save here, okay? So that means that if I move this toolbar, okay, and to another monitor, like if I have a quad monitor and I move my toolbar somewhere else and I change the channel bar, and everything will move relative to the toolbar. So that way, people told us that it's been kind of sometimes frustrating if you're trying to move windows one at a time, but this way you can, again, wherever you save the toolbar, that's where the windows will open, okay? As Brad said, new channels, all sorts of that kind of stuff that you can have that makes it very, very easy for you to navigate and get to what you need to get to. So let's talk about real quick. Let me open up the float runners window. File. So again, I go to the cloud, and it's loading. So it goes to our server, and I have that window, and all I do is press load, and the window appears. And notice again, it's the same kind of layout that I had before, and I have it sorted on the percentage of float, so that the most, again, uniquely interesting trading things are right, at my attention. Akebia, which had a huge gap up today, BTAE, and again, I believe we talked about that. These are the names. I mean, this is what should be on your watch list. And by the way, I'm pretty sure, Brad, you and I are going to be creating a float strategy channel, because that's
one of them that's going to be live. Yep.
That's right. Okay, so in terms of the float, what I want to show you now is, number one of the things that we've done is Marissa, who is also one of our client support managers, Brad, she has all the information for this float, and in actuality, she kind of knows that there's a trick that we can get it to you faster by adding the U99 and copying my window, or the way or possibly the way that you had done it before. So Marissa can help people get this also without them having to try it on their own.
I think that's just send an email to info@trade-ideas.
Yeah.
And we'll get you squared
And
away.
again, we've prepared is what we're trying to say. Believe it or not, we have prepared. So every window in Trade Ideas, you can configure it. So again, for the people that aren't familiar, every window, even though you don't need to, every window can be customized, configured, and the window-specific filters, okay, are just one of the ways that I am filtering this universe. And what I'm showing you here is that I specifically said I just want to look at this percentage of flow trade. It has to be a minimum of 1 today. Watch what happens when I say 10. Okay. Again, look, the list gets much shorter. So what happens is that by simple filtering technology, you can see that right away. You can really, if you want to get right into like the heat of battle, put it right here. I mean, here's where you should feel free to focus, and you know that exciting things are happening right now. So I'm just showing you again how you can modify the views. I mean, and again, to the tune of what alpha is, going from 90 to 27 is a pretty good alpha move. Okay. So filtering is one of the ways that we condense the information to get it more precise. But the problem is, as you guys know, is that technology is such that there are so many ways that you can filter this data. I mean, as you all know, we have almost an infinite amount of possibilities by which you can filter. So in order to create and test hypotheses, this goes back to our obsession with being scientific and making sure that we're not fooling ourselves when we're creating this data. What we do is we ask our computer to turn a filter idea into a strategy idea. Okay? So I'm going to move this, and I'm going to show you how I did that. First of all, I started with the base by right-clicking and collaborating. So anybody can do that. I right-click in the window, and it brings it to collaborate, and I hit copy all. That disappears, and I can say File and New Alert Window, and I can just launch any alert window I want. I can just take this one and hit OK, and then right-click and collaborate, paste what I had before, and here I have the float runners. And so this window is just a heartbeat, but it has all the filters that I had put in it before. So that's how we started with this concept, and we asked our computer to create a strategy, and we call it Holly's low float bottom AI, that does two things. Not only is it trying to make a strategy out of the stocks that have the low floats, but it's also trying to pick bottoms. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, hopefully this is the good end result. I'm going to right click, run the odds maker. I believe, actually I said we can move this to 45 minutes. So remember that our strategies are not designed for automation, they're designed for you as a human. So this strategy, because I'm on West Coast time, it gives you 15 minutes to let the market settle down. Then it starts at 15 minutes after the open and goes to, we don't take any trades past at least half hour until the close, or you can move it even further, like you can say 2 hours. So that you're more focused not on entries but on managing the trades. Same thing with the time. You can test whether it'll work for 30 minutes, whether it'll work for the whole day. And obviously, to capture more alpha, you need a little more time. So we designed this strategy to work the whole day, hopefully. Bradley, you didn't give me the right one. Hold on one moment. Okay, hold on. I know where it is, I hope. Let's see. Let me try this one. No good,
I can give you a cloud.
no good deed goes unpunished. Let's see if this works. This looks like possibly a better working one. Yes.
Oh, look at that.
There we go. Sorry, guys. there's so much technology floating around our screens. I myself don't know it. That was what I had started before, was one of the, again, the starting concept. So Holly picked a trigger of an unusual volume spike because, again, you know, we're not even necessarily needing stock to start going up. We just want all of a sudden for there to be an influx of volume. And what it did is, you know, I think we started off with a sample from these low float runners of approximately like 1,100 trades that we looked through to find the combination of behaviors. And this is what this is. These are the filter combinations that create the kind of strategy with these results.
So Dan, you're right here, and before you really get into it, a question came up from Susan who wanted to kind of know how we're different from TradeStation. And I thought this was a good opportunity to talk about our event-based backtesting and how this is such a unique way to look at the marketplace and look at a strategy rather than looking at a symbol and seeing what works for a particular symbol.
And I think that's what Susan, you know, kind of needs. You're absolutely right. Susan, that's a great question. We get this question a lot. TradeStation is symbol-focused strategy. You can try to design a way to trade Apple or Microsoft, but you have to have an idea of what you're going to be trading first. Whereas with Trade Ideas, we are designing an event, and then we are checking that event across the entire market. So in this case, you're possibly trading 119 different stocks. So when I go to my calendar here and I look at my trades, the computer didn't know that it was going to be getting into these trades. So we're testing statistical events versus trying to, you know, wrap a statistics around a stock. It's just a completely different and more scientifically viable methodology of creating systems. It's like portfolio-based systems testing, but this is better than portfolio because it's a sector of filter-based stocks, and that changes every day. So again, the strategy is just more viable and more verifiable. We are finding what is it that's making these stocks move. And here again, you know, different symbols. Sometimes you'll trade the same stock in the same day, and sometimes you won't. So you can kind of see our trades get represented by a calendar heat map, where you can see exactly, you know, what you were in, and possibly why. So that there is an expectation to a strategy. And the most important thing, too, and again, this is what we are obsessed about. We know how hard the market can be. So we are trying to squeeze as much statistics out of it as we possibly can. And given the environment of the market itself and the fact that because tomorrow hasn't happened, nobody knows what will happen tomorrow, we try to create, like, again, a profiling system, much like what you would see in those TV shows, and I've brought this up before as a metaphor, Criminal Minds, they have the behavioral unit where they're profiling the serial killers. This is the same thing. We are profiling, well, what makes a stock with a relatively low float that's trading a large percentage of that float trade in a way that it kind of starts to turn around and actually continues to go in that direction. And here is what they are. And again, if I open this window and I go to configure and I go to the Windows specific filters, you can kind of see what it is that there was a certain market cap that needed to be there, a certain 15-minute relative strength, a certain gap. And so these are the things that came together. There's a 1-minute volume spike, so it's trading a lot of volume at the time that it happens. And all of this, again, is being filtered against an entire universe of stocks that meet these criteria, and only when this alert, a 1-minute volume spike happens, does a trigger possibly occur. And the trigger would look like here. Let me go back to the multi-strategy window, which is how I would view this strategy. And if I go to history, this is kind of what it would look like in real time. And by the way, I want to make sure you guys know that just because you know, we see it does not necessarily mean that it that it's going to work, that this worked today. We can check it out though. We can see what happened like early in the morning. And again, I have, Brad will attest to the fact that I definitely have not run these statistics. And because today was a down day, I'm assuming it would have been pretty tricky. So let's see here, Brad.
You know, this is a situation where you've got
sample.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have so many different symbols here. I would do a group and sort by symbol and just kind of make it so that you're not over inundated with so many symbols in the history. And this is a little bit of a trick. Go to your view mode.
See, Brad has to show me how to do it. Hey, Brad, where's the view mode?
Take it up, history. Go into real time.
Brad.
Oh, you're in the. I'm sorry. You're in the multi-strategy. I am very sorry.
Okay. Right-click, view mode, group and sort by.
And here you want to go to, let's keep the oldest. That way we're looking at the very first instance of the alert. Select symbol, and ascending's fine. We're going to change the client-side sort order after this has run. So now run your history for today. It's important that you do today, not real time. That was a critical thing.
Today, history, I did today, right?
Yeah. See, when you do real time, that's pulling in the last 1,000 events, and it's very possible that those 1,000 events, although not in this strategy, could have extended over multiple days.
Ah, Brad, you are so smart.
So now if you go ahead and just double-click on the time column, you're going to now go ahead and sort this based on the time. It becomes a little bit more standard, but you're still just going to have one instance of that particular alert.
Brad, why aren't you always running these webinars?
And WB, I actually looked at this one. WB was a great one, and I think Meg.
I need a refresher course. Well, let's look at here. MG. Meg, let's see what happened at 10:75 at like 6. Where are we today? Oops. Sorry, I'm on the. I'll expand the intraday.
We had a little bit of a data issue this morning, so you're not going to, on the chart,
oh,
we have to reset those.
Sorry, guys. Barry told me not to do that. Okay, anyways. But the idea is that, this is how you would check what was going on. You compare the prices, see how you did, and again, some of our data might not be perfectly showing what you need to show. And the thing, too, is that you also have to realize that there's never ever a situation where a strategy doesn't, make mistakes or lose money. The beauty is that we are going to then have the odds maker learn from today, and the strategy that we're going to give you, this one, will actually have today's inputs. So you're going to get it tomorrow. And this will be a slightly updated one once it learns what took place today. Brad, wouldn't that be a better way to give that to everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So that's what we're going to do. Brad, let's start answering questions because we had so much going on today. Really ran through it very quickly.
Yeah, so Stuart's asking, will TI Pro work on a Mac running Parallels? And absolutely, Stuart. It'll work on VMware as well as Parallels. And we also do have a relatively new version of our software that's web-based that will actually work on your Mac as well. And that does have all the different window types that are available in TI Pro along with the odds maker. So you have both those options.
Yeah.
So the position and range. Now we have a lot of different position and ranges. So by default, that's the day range, position and range. But we have all different time frames.
I'll add a couple more as you.
Yeah, so we've got that one right here, the color-coded one, and that's what that's doing is it's giving me a graphical indication as to where that stock currently is or where it is at the time of the alert in relationship to its intraday high or low. And like I said, it could be on a different time frame. It could be the year range. Where is that stock right now in relationship to its year high and its year low?
Well, here, I just added a bunch, and I'm going to do the same thing with the history. Okay, so what's kind of cool is, again, notice here you got our data point, our custom data point, which is a 30-minute position and range. And Brad, you always tell me to bring that up, so I thought that's a good idea. And here, is our 5-day. Now, something to note about our position and range, when you see them filled in completely like this, that means it's above the 5-day range. So it's at 26% above the 5-day highs, basically.
And so, because these are all filters and these numbers are in here, you can go ahead and filter on stuff. And maybe you only want to see stocks that are above their 5-day range. You just simply put a minimum value in that filter, and then all the results will be reflective of that change that you made.
Right, and notice that everything is sortable, and that's what's really cool. You can see like, well, what's at the bottom of the 5-day range instantly, see the float, and resort by. Now this float runners, remember this strategy is a bottom picking strategy, so everything is going to be we're looking for a bottom, so that's why you're not going to see anything on highs when it takes place. But look at AXL, of all the things, what would have been more of a, see, look, this is where it would have been at least more of a better signal, because again, it started to make that topping formation until the market just completely puked on itself. So the ranges, again, the idea here, Carl, is the ranges help you sort out strength and weakness beforehand. If you're looking at this, and again with the yearly range, you already know kind of like, we know that NCLH, I mean, that would be a trend continuation. So that bottom picking that you would be getting into might actually have some decent opportunity to stay in it. In fact, look, that's probably the one of the trades where you're totally flat and the market was down pretty good. Same thing with LHCG. Towards the top of the year range, you would assume that if we turn around, these could continue higher. And so that's how the visualization works. And also remember too that everything, we have icons for our columns, but you can quickly change that and make them as text headers. Okay, and that way everything is easy to see and easy to understand. But the real crux of why you're here is that statistics and science is the way to speculate in the stock market, not like through newsletters and people telling you that some line crossed some other line. Ultimately, that doesn't matter. What really matters is the numbers. Okay, and there's no number crunching engine that allows you to do what Trade Ideas does with the odds maker. Okay, I mean, that's literally like how the name works, the odds maker. We take these trades, we simulate them, we run them through the gamut, and now you go from, oh, this looks good on a chart, to, I might get 40 cents out of this. That's the difference. It's a completely different set of expectations that also factors in real-life trading scenarios, like what is your real slippage? What happens if I'm losing 10 cents in each direction? Oh, that changes things a lot. And now you know, like, what kind of, when you're entering these trades, what kind of spread that you could handle or you couldn't. What happens if it's just 5? What a huge difference that is. And remember, by the way, this is 5 cents each way. So in here, we're already handicapping you 10 cents total. 5 cents on the entry, 5 cents on the exit from the odds maker. So a lot of ways that you can dig into the data, but the best of all is you don't have to, because the odds maker and the AI channel, Holly, we're creating strategies that are automatically updating themselves, and we're creating a computer that can speculate better than a human. That's what we are here to do. We are here to give you access to automation of statistics, the only way to really speculate and hope to have some kind of a winning edge, unless you're lucky, which then there's nothing wrong with being lucky, by the way, nothing at all. So, Scott, maybe this is a good time to come in and tell people again why the offers that we're doing for the odds maker are so important, considering the AI channel where everything is going to look like this is coming out, probably the first version of it in September.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you pull up the slideshow again and park it on slide 9? This goes along with this portion of the program also. We have a product code that will let those of you who do not currently own the odds maker save quite a bit off of it. You can save $300 off the lifetime odds maker license just by using this code on checkout. Here's a real easy way to get this too, if you don't want to even write it down, is go to the handouts portion of your GoToWebinar interface on your computer and click on handouts. And there should be a link to download the handout for today's webinar. That's going to include a couple of these slides, including the slide with the product code on it, and also another slide that will have links to a combination package I'll talk about in a moment. But using this code before Friday, it's good until Friday evening, QAWEB09, that takes $50 off your first month of trade ideas. So instead of starting at $99, you can start at $49 for the first month. There's no contract, so you can cancel after the first month, second month, but we do have quite a good history of retaining clients for a long, long time at Trade Ideas, so you stick around. The same code will take $150 off of your first year, so you can get the first year for $738 instead of $888. And like I mentioned a moment ago, that code will also drop the $1,100 odds maker license down to $800. If you want to go to the next slide there, and we're looking at our combination, which provides a full year and the odds maker for only $1088. Now, this is something that those of you that are subscribed as standard subscribers on the regular subscription can go ahead and upgrade into. It's a way to save money. You can just go to that link, the bit.ly/save900, or click through from the PDF you downloaded. But going to that exact link will take you to a page where you can purchase this package, and it includes the full year of trade ideas, the lifetime odds maker license, and you get the custom strategy for free as well. So you're saving $900 or more right there. And if you're already a subscriber and want to change to this, all you need to do is purchase the package and then shoot us an email to info@tradeideas.com letting us know you did so we can take a look at your account and make sure that your regular monthly rate is turned off and you're just on the new yearly deal. Again, it's a fantastic offer here. It's really for those of you that understand the value of trade ideas. And as we move forward to using the AI channel, and as that becomes more of an important integral part of using trade ideas, you're going to want to have access to that odds maker. So if you have any questions about this at all, email us at info@tradeideas.com. For information. You can contact Brad or Dan directly. They're Dan@TradeIdeas or Brad@TradeIdeas. Follow us on Facebook, Trade Ideas Pro on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, Trade Ideas 1 and @TradeIdeas, or give us a phone call. I want to thank everyone for showing up. Hopefully we see you at the next meeting next week, and keep your eyes peeled and to your email for any other webinars we're inviting you to. I think we might have some special guest webinars coming up in the next couple of weeks, if not sooner. Thanks, everyone.
Guys, thank you so much. And again, odds maker, this is what we're all about. We're going to take it to the next level for all investors. So your participation is greatly appreciated. Thank you, and we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone.